Greetings to one and all. You are listening to MMJC Fortnightly Podcast. We are standing in the first month of new financial year, and as a result, we have to undertake the compliances pertaining to new financial year. There are multiple such compliances, and one amongst them is filing of Form MSME 1 giving disclosure about outstanding payments to MSMEs. In this edition of MMJC Fortnightly Podcast, we shall be discussing some of the technicalities relating to this Form MSME 1. And to guide us about this form, we have with us Mr. Akshay Shah, manager from MMJC. So, Akshay, to begin with, can you please first tell us about the companies to which this form is applicable?
Yes, all companies who get supplies of goods or services from micro and small enterprise and whose payment to micro and small enterprise suppliers exceed 45 days from the date of acceptance or date of deemed acceptance. So these companies will be applicable to file form MSME 1.
Okay. So that means that this eligibility criteria is dependent upon the who are the vendors of the company and not upon the public or private status of the company.
Yes, right. It is applicable to all companies, right from a small company or one person company or a listed company who gets supplies from MSME.
Okay. So now tell me one thing. Why 45 days? I mean, from where is this timeline of 45 days coming?
Actually, this timeline is coming from MSME Act 2006. Section 15 of MSME Act says that payment should be made to MSME on or before agreed date, which cannot exceed 45 days from the date of acceptance or deemed acceptance. Or if there is no agreed date between the parties, then on or before appointed date, that is 15 days from date of acceptance or deemed acceptance. Therefore, in any case, payment to MSME is not accepted to cross 45 days. Hence, the companies are asked to provide details regarding payments to MSME which are outstanding for more than 45 days, which is maximum expected time allowed for making payment to MSME.
Okay. So, since you referred to many words like date of acceptance and deemed acceptance, etc., we will put all these definitions in the description of this podcast for our listeners. Moving on, please tell me how do I calculate these 45 days? I mean, from which date?
This 45 days in case of supply of goods has to be calculated from the date of supply, and in case of supply of services, it should be calculated from date of invoice.
Okay. So now let's move on to the questions pertaining to Form MSME 1. Can you first quickly highlight the legal provisions relating to this form?
Okay. This form finds its legal validity under Section 405 of the Companies Act 2013 and Ministry of Corporate Affairs Circular dated 22nd January 2019. Section 405 allows the central government to order companies to publish statistics about their operations. The MCA, exercising this power, mandated companies to disclose outstanding payments to MSME through a circular dated 22nd January 2019.
Okay. So now, which are the types of entities regarding whose outstanding payments the disclosure has to be made in this form?
Disclosure regarding only those entities has to be given who are registered as micro or small enterprise, irrespective of whether they are companies, firms, LLP, proprietorship, etc. Disclosure regarding outstanding payments to medium enterprise and unregistered entities is not required under this form.
Okay. And how do I come to know that which entity is a micro or small enterprise and it is registered or not?
Okay, this will be based on the investment and turnover criteria. As far as eligibility to registered is concerned, there are investment and turnover limits. For example, if the entity is into manufacturing business and it is having investment less than 1 CR and turnover less than 5 CR, then it is eligible to be registered as micro enterprise. Whereas if it is investment is not more than 10 CR and turnover is not more than 50 CR, then it is eligible to register as small enterprise. As you can see on slide, similar limits are prescribed for entities in service sector as well. However, whether such entities are registered or not has to be confirmed from the entities only.
Okay. Now tell me what exact details regarding these outstanding payments has to be given in the form.
Earlier, details regarding those outstanding payments had to be given which had already crossed 45 days and were still outstanding at the end of the half year. In addition to that, disclosure regarding payments which were made after 45 days but were not outstanding as at end of the half year was also to be given. But under current condition, only those payments which had crossed 45 days and are still outstanding at the end of the half year have to be disclosed. In fact, now one cannot disclose the amount paid after 45 days but is not outstanding at the end of the half year. If so disclosed, then the outstanding total will not match and it may be considered as non-compliance.
Okay, understood. So now suppose if I had shown some payment as outstanding as at 30th September 2023 and that payment is still outstanding as at 31st March 2024. So do I have to disclose it once again as at 31st March 24 or disclosing it only once is enough?
No, disclosing only once is not enough.
Okay.
It has to be disclosed after end of each half year till the time it is completely paid off.
Is there any requirement to disclose anything in the financial statements of the company relating to this payments?
Yes, it need to be disclosed in the financial statements also. In the trade payable section of balance sheet, as per Schedule 3, there is a table which asks for details regarding the payment outstanding to MSME. You can see the said table on the screen. I will also mention the points which are to be mentioned in the Schedule 3 table, which are as follows. Principal amount due remaining unpaid to any supplier registered under the MSMED Act 2006 and remaining unpaid as at a year end. Second point, interest due to any supplier registered under the MSMED Act and remaining unpaid as at a year end. Third, amount of interest paid under section 16 along with amount of payment made to supplier beyond appointed date during the financial year. Fourth, supplier is defined in MSMED Act micro small suppliers. Appointed date means 16th day from date of acceptance or deemed acceptance. Fifth, amount of interest due and payable for the delay in paying principal amount which has been paid but beyond due date during the financial year, but payment is done without adding interest specified in MSMED Act 2006. Sixth, amount of interest accrued and remaining unpaid at the end of each accounting year. So these are the points which need to be mentioned in the table as per Schedule 3 of the Companies Act 2013.
Okay, that was quite a detailed answer. But now all my doubts relating to this form MSME 1 are resolved. But do you want to add anything from your side for the benefit of your listeners?
Yes, I want to add a very important point. Actually, as per MCA circular under which the form is filed, there is no fees is prescribed for this form. Also, no other serious consequences are prescribed. Therefore, at times, it so happens that the due date for filing this form is missed out. Or at times, the companies are not aware about which of their vendors are registered MSME and therefore compliance is missed out. But this compliance should not be taken so lightly. If not immediate, then it may have serious consequences in future.
Yes. And one such serious consequence can be the recent adjudication orders passed by ROCs. In these orders, it is observed that ROC has been levying heavy penalty for late filing of Form MSME 1 at the rate of rupees 1000 per day as prescribed under Section 405. In the latest adjudication order passed by ROC Arnachulam, it is noticed that penalty of rupees 10,54,000 has been imposed on the company for late filing Form MSME. Also, in the budget 2024, there was an amendment proposed as per which if the payment is not made to the MSME 45 days, then such payment will not be allowed as a deduction for the income tax purposes. So considering these serious consequences, do you have any suggestions or what precautions the companies can take in this regard?
Following things can be taken care of. The company should have a list of registered micro and small enterprises. There should be in a place a system to capture whenever new vendors falling in this category or existing vendors taking registration. Third, company should have agreed date of payment for each such vendor. If not, then payment must be made within 15 days of receipt of goods and services. Fourth, company should monitor that payment is made within agreed date or 15 days and should also make provision for interest for payment crossing this date.
Okay, that is quite a good suggestion that covers all the possibilities. Thank you, Akshay, for helping us understand this form and guiding us relating to that. I am sure it will be useful for our listeners. Thank you to all our listeners for listening to us. Please feel free to write to us at mmjcinfo@mmjc.in regarding your suggestions and feedback.